Hello, boys and girls of all ages and sizes. Welcome back to the Horror Heathen YouTube channel and the South Jersey Horror Podcast. Today, I am sitting down with a very special guest. I am talking to Rebecca Calder, who plays Janet Smurl in the newest installment of The Conjuring Last Rites. Just released this weekend. If you have not seen the theater, go see it now. Two thumbs up, 5 out of 5. You would not be what's the word I'm looking for? Shoot, I can't. You will not be
Disappointed.
disappointed. Yeah, that's the one. You will not be disappointed. I experienced an IMAX the first time last night, and pardon my language, but holy shit, this movie is the best one next to the first one, in my opinion, and that is saying a lot because it takes a lot to impress me. But we're not here to talk about me today. We're here to talk about Rebecca's role as Janet Smurl. So, The Conjuring returns in the fourth and final installment of the franchise, and it feels like a natural continuation thanks to the return of Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Ed and Lorraine Warren. However, after watching the movie last night, in my opinion, the movie is terrifying, it's emotional, thrilling, pure horror magic, and it's a must-see epic conclusion. Hopefully, my guests will agree. So please give a very, very warm welcome to Rebecca. Thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk about Last Rites and meet you. And yeah,
You're excited. I'm excited for this because I am super stoked to be sitting. Okay, first of all, the honor and pleasure is all mine. And again, thank you because you're in Europe right now, from what I understand, and it's a big time conversion, big time difference. And I want to thank you for taking the time out for this because opening weekend, I imagine you're very busy. So with all the premieres and stuff.
thank you.
Anyway,
Yeah, you're up early, so you've got up especially early to do this. So thank you.
no, my dogs wake me up at 4 o'clock every morning, so I'm used to it. So
Oh, I get it. I totally understand. Yeah.
So my dogs have a routine. It's 4 o'clock in the mornings when I get to go to work during the week. So they're used to getting up at 4 a.m. and going outside and being fed. And this morning I was hoping to sleep just a little bit longer, but that didn't happen.
No, we could have done this hours ago. It would have been great. Extra scary, and it's still dark.
So if could please tell the audience a little bit about yourself and who your character is in this movie.
So I am Rebecca Calder. I'm an actor based in London. And in Conjuring Last Rites, I played Mrs. Janet Smurl, who is the mother, sort of matriarch of the Smurl family in Last Rites, one of the Warrens' um, biggest cases and quite a terrifying case in that. Yeah, so that's where we are.
Okay, so Jess Merle, the mother of the family, who I see has a very emotional role during the entire film. And from what I watched, Jesus, you delivered your role as Janet very well, very flawlessly. And I want to give you a high five because you did it so well.
Oh,
And
high five.
so if it was me, I would have been scared as hell to play Janet Smurl in one of these movies. But being a part of the Conjuring universe, I mean, it's got to be huge for you. I mean, how does it feel to be a part of the final installment?
Honestly, it's really surreal because I'm on a project at the moment where I'm filming and I'm immersed in that project. I mean, I'm shooting in Hungary and I've missed everything. I've missed all the screenings, all the fan events. I've been lucky enough to speak to film buffs like yourself this weekend because I've had a couple of days off, but I haven't been able to fly back for anything. So yeah, I haven't seen the film. So I'm sort of in this weird bubble where it feels like, did that really happen? And it's only when I talk about it with people that it feels real. So yeah, it's still of a pinch me kind of moment for me. But yeah, I'm very grateful for it all. And it's very cool to see the fan reaction to this film so far.
I get it because I'm a huge fan of the Conjuring movies, and especially when movies are based on true stories, and that's when it
Mhm.
really grasping it. And I didn't know about this case at all until I started seeing the previews, the trailers. I'm like,
Yeah.
who are the Merles? And like, you're like, what's about West Pittston? Where's that at? I'm in New Jersey. I never heard of West Pittston, PA. So
All right.
it's
Oh, interesting. And it's not so far from you, right? What, a couple of
no,
hours?
I think so. Yes, yes,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I first learned about who I was going to be playing, because when I auditioned, I didn't know. They had pseudonyms for us to kind of keep it all a secret. And so when I discovered I was playing, Mama Smurl, and I got to learn about the case. I did a deep dive into the research side of it, and wow, what an interesting case. And, there's only so much that they can use in, a 2 hour film. And so there's a lot that isn't in there. But oh my goodness. I had to really be careful about when I was reading up on the Smurls and watching things, because if I did it at night, I was just freaking myself out. And I had an audio book playing in my ears all the time from the book based on the haunted film, which was their own account that they are interviewed for this book. And so yeah, I still think about it. What just so fascinating. And it wasn't like it was over a year as it is in the film. This was over many years. They experienced this over 10 years. So yeah, I kind of had to protect myself from, what times I would be working. And I was very grateful to be working close to home for that shoot, because I think if I'd been in a hotel like I am now on my own, I wouldn't have slept for months. So
I think my body would have the exact same reaction as yours when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean,
yeah.
if I were to act in that kind of movie, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Just
Yeah, your nervous system is operating at such an extreme all the time that those moments in between where you giggle with your fellow actors, or they're really important, because I think it just like calms you down a little bit. But also at the same time, like Janet's a lovely person. And that was something that was really apparent in the research that I did. She was well, still alive, an amazing mother, partner. She was a devout Catholic. She did a lot for her community. And it was so nice to play someone kind and nice. I often play baddies. So there was a lot of lightness in it for me. Yeah, and I got to have some fun on set too. So yeah, it wasn't all super intense, but yeah.
so if you're allowed to say the production of this film, the special effects, the apparitions and stuff like that in the film, can you go into a deep dive on how all that was done, or is that like a secret?
No, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of these apparitions for the first time in the teasers that Conjuring and Warner Brothers are releasing. So they're not always as I imagined in my head, because when we shoot, we don't see anything.
Right.
Um, there's a telephone cord scene, I believe, that's made it into the
Yeah.
final cut. And when we shot that, there was nothing in the pantry. It was me and my imagination and freaking myself out. So, I mean, it was dark, but there was one of the younger crew members who was pulling on the cord, and I don't want to ruin the mystery of it all for people. But yeah, you're kind of your own worst enemy with how you imagine these things to be, because obviously so much of it is designed in post. But I remember the first time I saw Abner. He's one of the demons. He's the axe wielding demon. He's an actor called Lee. And he just looked terrifying. He looked fantastic in real life. And so it was great seeing him. And I never really saw him out of his costume and makeup. Um, but yeah, I often feel like, in a way, it's more scary sometimes when you don't know how things are going to look, because what we, excuse the pun, conjure up in our imagination is often worse than, something that ends up in a film. So, yeah. Uh, but if I do ever see it, I don't tend to watch my work, which is why I'm sort of reluctant to watch it. I'm my own worst critic. So, um, but yeah, part of me has been really curious to watch Lost Rites. Um, but yeah, if I do, I'd be really interested to see how they all turned out.
And so any person who can act in that kind of movie has my utmost respect. I mean, seriously, because if it was me on set, I'd probably cry like a little girl and just run away somewhere. Do it somewhere and scrap. I'm like, no, not happening. Because there were a lot of nope moments for me in that movie,
Yeah.
and no spoiler here, the doll that levitates from the floor. That's when I was like, I gotta go. This is not gonna work anymore.
Doll was freaky, I have to say, even just like when it wasn't doing anything, because they had like a robotics thing where its head would turn. The props department were just so clever. The props master, I think his name's David Balfour, could be getting that right. He's from Glasgow. He's amazing. He's done films like Beetlejuice and all sorts of films. But before we started filming, he actually came and allowed the cast members to look at all the props and see what they designed and like vats of blood, these, huge amounts of blood. And that was really interesting to sort of, have a tangible experience with the props. Yeah.
So jumping back to the questions, I kind of digressed a little bit. As always, these movies are based on true stories, and that's what makes them more interesting and more fascinating, in my opinion. So, did that give off like a creepy vibe to you at all? Knowing you're participating, you're being filmed in a movie that's based on a true story.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I think, there'll be believers and then there'll be non-believers. And I think I fall somewhere in between the two. And so I have a natural skepticism, but at the same time, I can't deny that there's something there. And when we started shooting, I don't know if people know this actually. Am I allowed to say this? I think I'm allowed to say this. Yeah, because yeah. When we started filming the Smurl house, which was in studio, it was a set, incredible set. And there was also an external house on a lot, which was, the outside of the house. But when we started shooting the first scenes in the small house, we actually had a Catholic priest come and bless the set and bless us. So I was sprayed with holy water, and he was amazing. He was really amazing. And he mentioned that, this is something that he does tackle in his life as a priest, exorcisms, and they're not as well, they're not as spoken about as commonly, but it does occur. And so that was sort of there because I believe they didn't bless the first Conjuring film set, and there were some issues, things were happening. And so that was quite an eye-opening experience as an actor. I'd never been in that situation before, and I thought to myself, okay, we need to be a bit protective here of what we're allowing in because as actors we're very open conduits for things,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't inviting anything to stay. And so he actually gave us, the nuns had blessed from the church that he was based at in Marylebone in central London. The nuns had blessed some Saint Michael guardian angel cards for us. And all of the crew members and cast members got to have one of those if they wanted to take it. So I always had that with me on set. It was always close to hand.
Well, that kind of answered the one of the questions I was going to ask later. If anything strange happened on set while filming, but obviously nothing bad happened. So unless you don't know about it, I mean, did anything strange happen at all?
Not to me, not to me. I was not engaged. I was not allowing anything to connect with me. I was like that, hand up, no. But I know that there were some things with some other people, but I don't know if they want to share or so I sort of haven't shared anything about what happened to them.
Gotcha.
But I mean, Vera has spoken about the bruises on her.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I've
Vera has.
heard that. Yeah, I've heard in the past, like you mentioned the first Conjuring movie, how a lot of things happen on set 'cause it wasn't blessed. So it falls under that category
Mm,
of cursed films. So after reading the script and knowing what you're
yeah.
about to get into, did you have okay, you did research on the Smurl case, right? You said you watched some documentaries, you listened to some stuff on audiobook. Um, how did you mentally and physically prepare yourself for this?
It was interesting because as much as I pre-prepared prior to rehearsal, I very much had kind of listened to Janet's voice, and I was trying to recreate her very individual sound and accent. But then when I got to rehearsal, the decision was made that the family should just sound the same and keep it, aligned so that we feel like a family. And so then that idea was you have to throw things away sometimes, and that's the process of being an actor. Every job's different. And so that was kind of that layer was taken off. And then it was a case of seeing the costume and seeing these amazing glasses that she wears and all of those layers kind of coming to life. The hair, she was quite different to me. And so it was kind of a layering process of bringing her to life and understanding the chemistry between myself and the actor Elliot Cowan, who plays Jack Smurl, and how we would sit as a married couple. And because you can only fabricate to a certain extent, a lot of what the job is being present in the moment with those actors and listening and responding. And so we developed our own chemistry, and especially with the girls, the kids, they were just such brilliant actors, right? I mean, they are so beyond their years in terms of their talents. And it was easy from day one with them. I felt like their mom for those few months that we were working together. And so that really informed a lot about the rapport that we built. And I was naturally very protective of them on set. And, I was so worried that they were going to be freaked out by things. And so I was always protecting them. And I think that there wasn't a lot of acting required in those moments where crazy things are happening, and I'm a protective mama bear. So yeah, it
Totally
was
get
quite
it.
effortless in that sense.
Well, good for you because, like I said, you delivered Janet to a T. I mean, from what I read in the past about this case and that person, how this stuff actually happened to them, it's like you were Janet. I mean, you were there. You were like you totally embodied that character, and it was done so flawlessly. So a lot of credit goes to
Oh,
you about what you did and
thank
how
you.
you were able to act as Janet in that film because I wouldn't be able to do it. So
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, she's a great character because she had a lot to lose in the story. And but at the same time, like, as much as she was terrified, and this is really what I got from her own personal accounts, was that she was really, really scared of what was going on. But she had to protect her children. So there's only so much that, she had to be quite selfless in that she had to hide a lot of her emotions from her children when things were happening around her because she had to be strong for them. So yeah, I think it's multi-layered difficulty for her.
So, okay, while watching the film, I noticed how the possible challenges that may be posed on set while filming. And having 8 people in that house, in that tiny little house. I mean, especially I don't know if the set was like extended or was it like the actual size of the set. So, were there any other profound challenges besides having 8 people in the same room?
Yeah, we shot it in a very different way to how I would usually work. So, a lot of the time when you're making a film, you come in with your master and then you come in closer for maybe a two shot, or you'll have a close up, clean individual close ups. But because there are so many of us in the house and the space is small and you've got a whole crew in there as well with you, what Michael, our director, decided to do early on was try to get these family dynamic scenes in one take with a moving camera rather than being, on sticks, like still. He was going to be moving with us and moving through the family, which would help them feel believable. And, there's a certain element of chaos, I think, with a large family like that. So it felt almost like a documentary and like we were a real family and we would improvise through the script. A lot of it is scripted, but there are moments that we would move away from it and just be in the moment and respond. So if the kids were doing something random, and I'd be responding to them as I would as a mother, I would respond. So it was an unusual way of working, but I think it makes it more believable.
Okay. So have you seen any of the previous films at all? The Conjuring films?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd seen them. I'm, a fan. I love paranormal horror in particular. I love ghost stories. I've always been obsessed with ghost stories. Um, and I think what makes the Conjuring franchise so special is that it's based on these true stories. And yes, there's a level of, creative license to change things for a cinematic format. But the essence is based on a true story. And a lot of what is in the film is based on the true events. So the mirror is not, it wasn't a mirror. Um, but other than that, a lot of the things happened. The basement stuff that Janet experienced happened. That was one of the first things that happened to her. The succubus scenes with Jack Smurl happened. It also happened to Janet in the real story. The light falling did really fall, but it actually fell on one of the younger girls, one of the twins, Shannon. Um, so I mean, it's crazy that I could go on all day about what happened to them, but from their account. But um, yeah,
So out of all
did
the
that answer?
clean, okay, yeah, it did. It did. Very much so it did. Thank you. Um, so it is said that the Smurl case is the darkest in the series. I mean, in your opinion, do you think that's true?
I think they're all I think they're all pretty terrifying. I think that the thing that is so interesting about the small case is it's later than the other cases. So we're at 1986 now, and there was a lot more recorded footage of the Smurls. They went on Larry King for real. You can see that online. They went on other talk shows as well. The Larry King happened later in real life, so that happened many years after. But there was another talk show that they went on. I think it was in Philadelphia. Um, the difference with the Smurls as well was that it didn't just happen in the house for them. They were actually being haunted. So they would leave the house. They went on this camping trip at one time, and the spirits followed them to the camping trip. They followed them to the recording of this talk show in Philadelphia. They were really terrorized by these four demons. There were four of them. One was a demon, and three were these spirits. And the demon would supposedly use these spirits to do things to them. Yeah, so I think it's a really interesting case because there's a lot of footage that you can access. And so I think for fans of the franchise, I know I love that more than anything. When I've watched something or I've read about something, I want to dig deeper and understand the story.
Yes, I think it's the darkest because during the 80s, that was like the heightened moment of, the paranormal activity in the United States, and a lot more was going on throughout the country. I mean, if you think about it, there's other cases like 1984 in Los Angeles was The Entity movie. The movie was based on a true story as well, and that happened all across
Really
across the country. Yeah, and it was a woman being terrorized by an unseen force. So there was a book written about it. That there's a movie produced about it, and now they're making a reproduction with it too, as well as come out next year. So but other stuff too. Plus the 80s had like
interesting.
yeah. And plus, the 80s had like all the serial killers. Everybody was like on edge. It was just nuts. That the 80s was it was a really crazy decade. So, um, and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
having that added to all the other stuff, piled on just made it worse.
Yeah, and I think as well it was the era where we were first able to record. We could, they had these VHS recorders. And so prior to that, no one was able to video situations at home or record these things happening. And so it's just at that time where there was a shift, and I think that there's some footage of Jack Smurl filming, and some of it's been, we filmed it in the camera itself, to kind of highlight that that was where we're at in history.
Absolutely. So this movie is being called the perfect ending to Ed and Lorraine's story. What do you think about that? Do you think it's true?
I mean, in a perfect world, we'd just keep going. I don't know. I don't really want it to end. Um, but because I haven't seen it, I can only say from filming, it felt like it. It felt like a great closure for them. This was at a time where they were, veering away from working on these cases, and so it does align with actually where they were at in their lives at that point. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's great hearing fans' response to this ending for them, but I know that the fans are really sad that we've ended it for them.
Well, there are rumors that they're doing spin-offs from The Conjuring. James Wan and the directors are doing like little side projects to continue, not I guess what Ed and Lorraine did, but what other people did. I don't know. I have to do some more research on that. So as
Yeah, I mean, it'd
knowing
be
what
cool. It'd be very cool. I would love to see a series or something. Um, I would love to. I didn't get to meet the actors who played the younger versions of Ed and Lorraine, but I've seen them in clips. They look brilliant in it, and I heard that they were great for their shooting. And there's so much scope for you could go back in time, you could go forward in time with Judy and the story with Tony and Judy, and kind of, yeah, that you could I love that this is, these cool decades that you can work in. You could go back to the 60s, 70s, or you could also move forward into the 80s and 90s, with the younger generation. So yeah, as a fan, I would be really excited to see what they could do with this.
well, like I said, there's rumors. Not sure if it's true or not. It's just something that's being played around and bounced around the internet for now. Until we actually see something tangible coming out of it. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it'd be amazing. Fingers crossed.
okay, so jumping ahead, we only got a few minutes left, unfortunately. So knowing what horrors lie ahead for those who have not seen this movie yet, how would you describe it, and what can they expect?
Uh, in an ideal world, for me, I prefer not to watch any trailers, not to watch any clips, and just go in blind. I never watch trailers. Uh, and try to just be as open as you can to it. But I think that what might be surprising to people is the kind of emotional pull that this film, I think, will have. And so that's exciting to sort of weave in with horror, the heartstrings. So
So my next question is kind of like not, I don't know how I said not genuine because you haven't watched this one yet, but between like the first, second, and third one, which one is your favorite?
oh, well, I worked with the director who did the third. So Michael, I should say the third, but I always go back to the first. The Enfield haunting I know really well because my family are from near there, and so I've known about it, and that's quite a well-known story in the UK anyway. But I think the first film, just because it was brand new, and they didn't know what they were doing, they were just making this film, and so I love it for its sort of the yeah, it just felt like this, like exciting. It must have been amazing to have made that first one. And for all the actors as well to have like been on it from the beginning. Shannon is one of the actors I'm friends with, and he's been on it from, the first all the way through to these films. And so they're all special in their own way. And although I was probably more interested in the Enfield haunting case, I think that the first one for me just like, it sucked me in.
Yeah, I
They're
agree
all
because
great.
yes, they are good, but I'm more partial to the second one because I don't know. It's just something about stuff happening overseas in the UK. It just makes stuff more creepier. I don't know
Yeah,
what it is.
we have a lot of ghost stories here. Well, I'm not here right now. In London, there's a haunted house opposite me as well. We have very old buildings, and yeah, I don't know. It's you know, yeah, I could tell you some stories, but we don't have time for those. But yeah, ghost stories are part of our culture there. So yeah.
Absolutely. So, what's next for you? Anything exciting come up you want to talk about real quick?
The one I'm on right now, I would be in big trouble if I spoke about it. It's a very top secret one, but I have got other things coming out. I've been really busy actually. It's been a good couple of years. So I've got a film coming out in October with a theatrical release in the US. It's already released here. That's a horror actually, a sort of psychological horror. It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is amazing. And it's a different film to The Conjuring in that it's an independent film, so a much smaller budget, but it's been loved by people. And they're calling it a gem, which is always nice. So that's called Broken Bird. And I played the lead role in that, a character called Sybil. It's directed by a director called Joanne Mitchell. And yeah, it's just brilliant. You've got actors like James Fleet in it, who's amazing. I loved working with him. So yeah, that's coming out. So hopefully there'll be more news about that soon, sort of around the Halloween season for you guys. And I've got some TV projects coming out and a few more films, which I actually shot after The Conjuring. The Conjuring's come out really quickly. We only wrapped on that at the end of last year. So yeah, it's lots of cool things happening.
Oh, that's all the questions I have. And unfortunately, we're almost out of time. You have been wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me again. I really do appreciate you taking the time out and your busy schedule. So, I wish you nothing but the best of luck in your career in the future. And I will definitely see you on the big screen again.
Thank you. Thanks so much. It's been so great to chat and good luck with your podcast and everything. I can't wait to catch up on a few of your other ones.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for the wonderful, the talented Rebecca Calder, who plays Jan Smurl in the new Conjuring movie. Go check it out this weekend. You will not be disappointed, I promise. And Rebecca delivers Jan's role flawlessly. And please stop by her Instagram page and show her some love and support her as much as you can. Again, thank you so much, Rebecca. You have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You too. Great to meet.
Likewise, take care.
Bye.